My visitor was much impressed by the events of our sitting, no less it seems by my involuntary hand gestures than by the message I had given him. He remarked to the newspaperman who accompanied him that while I was in communication with his wife, I kept clasping my hands in front of my face. I was unaware of having done this, nor could I later recall having done so. However, the significance of it was not lost on him. He explained that the movements of my hands had been a faithful reproduction of a characteristic gesture of his wife's. Many times he had seen her hands make the same nervous movements that mine had done, especially in the mornings when he had had to leave to go to his business. An account of Mr. Proctor's visit was published in the People the following Sunday. It was a full description, much more detailed than the brief resume I have just given. Towards the end of the article, the reporter, Alan Bestic, wrote, "There is, of course, another possible interpretation of what happened. Mrs. Roberts has a keen, sensitive mind. Mr. Proctor came to her with an appalling problem dominating his thoughts. Perhaps that sensitive mind reached out and picked up those thoughts as a delicate radio receiver picks up faint, persistent signals. It could have been telepathy. But that theory does not hold good for another test which Mrs. Roberts conducted in my presence that day. This time the subjects were Mrs. P and her daughter, who, for family reasons, wished to remain anonymous. Neither had seen Mrs. Roberts before. She knew nothing of them. Mrs. P wanted information about her son, Will, who was reported killed on a bomber raid over Germany 15 years ago. Both she and her daughter had been told by several mediums that he was still alive, wandering in France, suffering from loss of memory. Mrs. Roberts told them she was in contact with a man, Mrs. P's husband. She described accurately how he had died of cancer and how his mind had been unsettled for a few days before his death.